Hey there, what's up, guys? It's Rapmark here. So, doing my Jurassic World Dominion review, and who was it any good? I'm just gonna say no. It felt like a whole series of coincidences. It felt like everything was so contrived, and it felt like the like some movies will capture the nostalgia factor, and they definitely tried to do this in this movie. They seem to have done it not in a good way, though. Uh, so this is the last film in the Jurassic Park franchise as they're promoting it, and honestly, I'm kind of glad they've taken a very long decline from the 1993 classic. Uh, I mean, holy crap! You have characters meeting each other uh, right at the exact time they need to be meeting each other. Somehow people end up being where they need to be when they need to be there. People avoid, essentially death by literally the most improbable of margins. You have plot armor. You have focus on things you just don't care about. Uh, and so, like, honestly, I didn't go into this with the highest of expectations, but I was at least hoping it would be a good send off with, obviously some nostalgia put in for good measure. And what did I get? I got essentially a disappointment from where I went into it at, with nostalgia that I'm just like, okay, just like this was just thrown in there for good measure, whatever. um, so the one thing I did enjoy that they had, you know, everyone together. It was essentially everyone. So that worked. The problem was is everyone was like split apart for most of the movie. It was essentially two big story plots that essentially turned the dinosaurs into side characters in what is essentially based on them existing in this world. I mean, the whole thing starts out, and I'll get into like specifics more and spoilers. Like, dinosaurs are in this world, and it's just like how is that even a problem? Like, because you see like people being eaten and attacked or just and otherwise being put in danger by these new creatures that have now been thrown back into the world. So, like, the fact that people wouldn't do anything about that, I don't know. Like, so it was kind of like the whole premise was based on an improbable thing. I mean, I guess there would have been conservation efforts, but like you're talking about wild creatures who are many of them carnivores. I mean, there were some herbivores in there, but yeah, living amongst people and attacking like livestock and people themselves. I mean, holy crap. There are points in this movie where you actually see people getting eaten. And it's like, okay, it's never thought of again. I mean, and you're dancing all over the place. Like, you go from the States to Malta to wherever. What is it? Bison? Bison? I'm trying to find that right now. Bison. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, bison. I thought it was something like that. Um, and it's just, like get the journey there is just so full of like I don't even know. Like the improbability of everything that happens in this movie is insane when you think of all the plot armor and all the coincidences, like contrivance central. Like what to get like in Malta, it's a whole scene of like you hear that there's like an underground where people are illegally selling dinosaurs, and at some point the dinosaurs escape and it literally shows them attacking and like eating people just out there on this island, this majorly populated island, and it's just never brought up again. Like it dropped it like a hot potato, because essentially what this story is about, it's not about dinosaurs. It is essentially there are two storylines. Uh, you know, about a kidnapping story from one, and that's the new guard, the ones that were introduced in Jurassic World. Um, and then you have this storyline about locusts eating crops because Biosyn wants to control the food supply, and that involves most of the old people from the original Jurassic Park, and I'm just like, and they're all just a contrivance just to get all of them together into Biosyn's chamber. God, ugh, owie. But yeah, there are, and the way they meet, oh my gosh, it's so insane. It's just like accidents upon accidents, which turn into somehow blessings in disguise. And oh my gosh, it just at, about halfway through this movie, my brain just exploded through the ridiculousness of it all. It's just like there was no suspension of disbelief because everything I was just like, I mean, they're not gonna die because that sucked. Anyway, that yeah, they're not gonna die because they have plot armor. Uh, dinosaurs also have plot armor. Again, what are dinosaurs doing out in a heavily populated area and no one's doing anything? It was mind blowing, like the ridiculousness of this. So some of the things I did like were the dinosaurs themselves. So I did like some of the dinosaurs once they got to Biosyn. Like there were, and also probably in the black market there were a couple there that I did enjoy. I enjoyed that Quetzalcoatlus was there. That was a fun scene, though. It was another scene that made no sense. We'll get into that in spoilers. Uh, and then we have a Pyroraptor, which is essentially like a dinosaur that has feathers. So it's before actual birds. From what I've read on this, it's something that existed in the Cretaceous. Uh, when dinosaurs were starting to their scales were essentially modifying to both to feathers, essentially. And then you have, oh man, some of these I can't even, yeah, I can't even begin to pronounce this. Like Therizinosaurus. That's as close as I can get. So that one was the, which one was that? Oh, that was the one with the claws. So that was another one that was like it had sort of it had scales clearly, but it had like sort of hair, feathery type things. And I don't know if it was blind or just visually impaired or whatnot, but yeah, it just has these long claws that it just kill everything. And there was another cool scene with Claire in that, which I'll also get into later. But I'm just saying, yeah, it was. There were some good elements to be had, is I guess what I'm saying. There were some good bright spots within this movie, but it was a long shot from everything else that just dragged this movie down into the depths of like mediocrity and just not good. uh, and then of course at the end, you have the epic fight. Tyrannosaurus has to be involved, and then a Giganotosaurus, which I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, also Dilophosaurus is making an appearance and a return here, which is super cool. And then everything just sort of ties up into one big happy ball, which I'm just like, that I don't even know about all this. Like, I was totally like lost in my suspension of disbelief here. It was some of the most contrived, awful writing ever. Um, but I mean, the performances themselves, I think, with what they were given, were all right. I did enjoy, obviously, Ian Malcolm. Um, I I don't know. He was the only one that I actually had fun with. Is essentially what I would, as I would say, I actually fully enjoyed. I wasn't a fan of like what they did to Velociraptors, which I'll get into more in spoilers. But yeah, this one was just. I'm glad it's over. The nostalgia berries just were not enough to carry this movie on their backs. It collapsed under the own weight of its contrivance and coincidences and just unbelievable plot. Uh so yeah, well, what do I feel like giving this? I think I'm going to give this a 4 because it was not good. It was under expectation for what I was expecting it to be. It is not a movie I'd recommend people go out and see immediately unless you're like really into it and just want to see it for it's the end. Uh, it was whew, it was something else. That's what I'll say about that. Um, so yeah, 4 out of 10. The thing that carries it up, because I would have given this a 3, but there were some scenes which I did enjoy, which I thought were somewhat cool. Um, so yeah, there we go. So I think that'll take it for the review section of this. So I will be back for the spoiler scene for the spoiler section in just a moment. So anyway, I'll catch you guys then. See ya.